That water was transported in the early 20th century. And it's a wonderful piece of architecture here in the southwest corner of the Garfield Historic District that we can all continue to enjoy here at Verde Park.
It's official, Phoenix is on the clock, 226 days until tip-off.
Today was the official kickoff of the countdown clock at Sky Harbor Airport, marking 226 days until tip-off for the 2026 Women's Final Four.
This is the first time we've ever hosted the Women's Final Four. We're really looking forward to April, where we will welcome fans from all over the world to see the best in women's college basketball.
It is going to be an amazing party and campus in downtown Phoenix. What's really interesting about this event is all of the extra events are free. So it's family friendly. It'll be throughout the weekend. It's a holiday weekend with Easter. And so we'll be able to see families from around the state and around the city come down and enjoy the Women's Final Four.
We have 4 Division I programs here in Arizona, so this community is more than ready to embrace the Women's Final Four when it takes center stage. It's going to be the best setting for the Women's Final Four. For young fans, for players, for coaches, for families, they get to create lifelong memories on one of the biggest stages in sports.
Really, there's nothing like the excitement of March Madness. Women's basketball is on the rise. As someone who played basketball, I too was one of those that envisioned it being at the pedestal that it is today. Yes, they drive tourism. Yes, they drive economic development. But they really give us, our state, our city, an opportunity on the national and global scale to have exposure.
The NCAA has been wonderful about partnering with our Parks Department.
They did renovations and projects such as East Lake Park, got to see new basketball courts and redesign of their facilities. And I'm just excited to see how it all comes to fruition in 226 days.
Phoenix is a basketball town. We're also Championship Valley. We have welcomed the NCAA, Super Bowls, great soccer. This is the place to host championship events.
There is no greater place than Phoenix in April because the weather is amazing and we are coming off of spring training, so just get ready to have amazing weather, good sports, and good food out in Phoenix.
So for the next 226 days, this clock will not only serve as a reminder of the Women's Final Four for the millions of travelers that come through beautiful Sky Harbor Airport, it's also a point of pride for all of us here in the community.
You'll see that we are excited about the NCAA Final Four. The women are going to be really proud of the event we put on.
Checkmate.
Good info is a good thing. The Broadway Curve Project is in the works. Prepare for lane closures and detours. Stay ahead of the curve at i10broadwaycurve.com.
I am Chad Makowski. I'm the aviation director. I'm so happy to be here with you all today and MC this amazing event. We're thrilled to have all of you with us as we begin our countdown to NASCAR Championship Weekend. I'd like to take a moment especially to thank our distinguished guests and fans for joining us here today as we gear up for one of the most highly anticipated events in the Valley of the Sun. So soon, tens of thousands of fans will be descending upon the desert to witness 4 exciting races over the course of 3 days right here in the West Valley. On Friday, October 31st, we're going to be hosting the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Championship race. On the very next day, Saturday, November 1st, we have an exciting doubleheader with the NASCAR Xfinity Series Championship race and the ARCA Menards Series West Desert Diamond Casino West Valley 100 race. And then on Sunday, the big event, November 2nd, get ready for the NASCAR Cup Series Championship race, where the best drivers in the world will compete for the highly coveted Bill France Cup. Now, all right. So I know everybody's here for the big countdown clock unveil, but we've got some amazing speakers here that want to tell you a little bit more about the weekend's events. So before we unveil that clock, I'd like to introduce our speakers, beginning with our host, Phoenix Raceway President, Latasha Kazi.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Chad. I appreciate it. I appreciate you all having us again for the countdown clock for Championship Weekend. I do have to say a true thank you to Mayor Kate Gallego. I know everyone's schedules are really full, but there is no schedule like Mayor Kate's, and I appreciate you rushing to get here, as well as all of our other speakers who are here with us today. The interim director for the Arizona Office of Tourism, Alex, thank you for being here. Ron, I always appreciate you and appreciate you being here, and as well our agency, Commit Agency, for helping us put this together, and really for all of your partnership for Championship and all we do. So to all of you who are here, truly your presence just speaks volumes about NASCAR Championship Weekend, which as mentioned will be at Phoenix Raceway the weekend of October 31st through November 2nd. What we do know is that Phoenix Sky Harbor is the friendliest airport. We are known for that here, and we know that we have thousands of fans who will come through Phoenix Sky Harbor with one destination in mind, or a common destination in mind, which is Phoenix Raceway. So thank you to the team here at Sky Harbor for your dedication and everything that you do for our fans who come here through Phoenix Sky Harbor. This year, we'll have NASCAR fans from all 50 states, 21 nations, and 5 continents traveling through Sky Harbor for NASCAR Championship Weekend. And while this will be our last championship weekend for just a while at Phoenix Raceway, we know that Phoenix Raceway will continue to be a must-visit destination. We're not going anywhere, though. Championship Weekend, it will come back in a few years.
Mike, and I want to thank all of our colleagues at the Fiesta Bowl and Visit Phoenix that are here today. We're excited to be here today and to have a fantastic activation at Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport. It's amazing to see it come in and go up, especially that giant iconic trophy over there. I want to thank all the team members from the Fiesta Bowl and their aviation department that truly use their muscles to get that into this building for the thousands of college football fans visiting the Valley to come and enjoy it. We love to see these kind of fun and surprising activations here at the airport for our passengers and our employees, especially when the activation involves a hallmark Arizona event like the Fiesta Bowl. Welcoming crowds from major sporting events is in our DNA here at Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. The games and the related activities bring excited fans into town and are great for the airport, our airline and concession partners, and the economy of Phoenix, the Valley, and the whole state of Arizona. The Fiesta Bowl helped started that trend more than 50 years ago, and the game and the events surrounding it are always a highlight. We are proud that more than 100 Aviation Department family and employees and volunteering to be part of and participate in tomorrow's Fiesta Bowl parade in Central Phoenix. We're excited to be here and to see the teams move on in the brackets, and the Phoenix Sky Harbor staff, along with our concessionaires, our airline partners, are ready to welcome the teams and the thousands of visitors to the Valley for the game. Thank you.
Our next guest has done great work for the city of Phoenix to lift its profile on an international level. He's brought big issues, big sports events to the Valley since moving into his role as the president and CEO of Visit Phoenix. Ron Price has seen how tourism and sports interconnect for decades and in multiple cities. But I know that he knows how much better Phoenix is than any other market across the country. Please welcome Ron Price.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Judy, you were at the game last night. Yeah. I was on my couch last night. I want to talk about the game here today. I cannot believe the turnout that happened. And so very excited that we're going to have these two teams with us. Mike, you're right. We do these big events better than anyone else. So we're very fortunate to be a destination where these big events take place. I think we do it very well. And the fact that we get to be a semifinal game this year is going to be very special. Especially when you look at the teams that we have coming in. These are teams that travel. These are teams that the fans are going to be here because their teams are going to be making it to the national championship. So we're looking forward to a great turnout. I want to just say what a great job the Fiesta Bowl and the Fiesta Bowl Foundation has done. They're going to be rolling out the red carpet here. But it's more than that. It's the fact that they're in the community, they're raising funds to build a better community, and for all of us, the citizens here, we can't thank you enough. So let's all give a big round of applause for the Fiesta Bowl and all the Yellow Jackets here. So with that, we look forward to rolling out the red carpet, getting these teams here. It's going to be a fun week. These visitors aren't just coming here for the game, but they're going to be coming here and experiencing the destination. So we look forward to welcome them here. So with that, thank you all.
Our next speaker is someone I love to have on my show. He's one of my favorite guests, and it's because of his passion for college football, but also passion for making the community a better place. Since taking over as executive director and CEO of the organization, he's taken it to new heights, new football initiatives, record levels of giving in Arizona with Arizona's teachers through the Wishes for Teachers. He's led a brand of evolution at the Fiesta Sports Foundation to show all the organization does on, but especially off the field. It's my honor to introduce Eric Moses.
So we've been waiting for almost 4 weeks for these teams to emerge. And emerge they did. There were some great games yesterday. Judy got to see the folks down at the Sugar Bowl and still was able to get back here on time, which is quite a feat. And I was down at the Cotton Bowl seeing Miami surprise most of the college football world and advance to the Verbo Fiesta Bowl. Not all of it. Mike wasn't surprised at all. Look, the road to the national championship runs through the Valley, and we're excited about that, to be able to host another semifinal here where the winner will advance to a national championship. You know, the economic impact that this game and the surrounding activities provide to the Valley is about $200 million, which is really significant for our hotel partners. Yeah, that's worth clapping for. Our hotel partners, our hospitality partners, obviously the airport and other businesses here locally. That's why these events are so important. But more importantly, as Mike alluded to, the Fiesta Sports Foundation really is about giving back to communities all throughout the state of Arizona. And every ticket that is purchased, every sponsorship, every donation that comes into our organization really helps to give back to this community and to support this community. And that's at the heart of what we do. As you can see from the yellow jackets and the red jackets around here, people are giving, as I like to say, their time, talent, and treasure to this organization to help support this state. And so we're so excited that everybody could be here to help us today. Phoenix Sky Harbor is the best place to announce these teams that are coming in here. And I want to thank the airport, the City of Phoenix, and Visit Phoenix for helping us to announce this today. I'm not going to belabor this because we want to get excited about the teams that are going to be coming in here. They're fans that are going to be pouring into the Valley and spending their money here in the Valley and enjoying our fantastic weather, which I can assure you is better than most of the places where these folks will be coming from. So I think we're going to get ready to announce and to slap the brackets on there so we can see who's there. If you have not bought tickets, hurry up, because they're going fast. This is going to be a fantastic game. Thank you all for being here. And without further ado, let's get some names on the bracket here.
It's all about the youth.
All right, and they're going to be facing from the SEC.
Bienvenidos a Phoenix en un minuto, más o menos. Estamos aquí frente a la escuela primaria Booker T. Washington, construida en 1928. La escuela está ubicada en 1201 East Jefferson Street. Esta es la primera escuela primaria para afroamericanos en Phoenix, un edificio de 2 pisos construido por $100,000 o casi $2 millones en la economía actual. Con una capacidad para 450 estudiantes, no solo sería un lugar de aprendizaje, sino también un punto de reunión para la comunidad afroamericana que veía la escuela como un símbolo de orgullo. La escuela cerraría en 1984 y el espacio sería reutilizado como oficinas para New Times y V Digital Service. El edificio sería añadido al registro de propiedades históricas de Phoenix en junio del 2005.
The Light Parade first began in 1987 as part of the city had a Fiesta of Lights event where there was a tree lighting at Symphony Hall. Yeah, the parade for the first year circled Phoenix Symphony Hall, Civic Plaza, and it was one float. It was basically a golf cart with Santa and a cactus made out of tomato plant frames. The city was obviously growing at that time. We're talking the early, mid 80s, and crowds were getting bigger for the tree lighting, and staff just felt like they needed more. The supervisor at that time had the idea. She had seen the Walt Disney parade at Disney World and thought that would be a nice addition, a way to really kick up what was going on in Phoenix, and from there it just took off, grew and grew. The thing that makes the Electric Light Parade special is that it's at night and it's dark and it's lit, and that isn't, no other parade in Phoenix does that. And it's so much about the community that happens that night and not necessarily just the parade. And being our 38th year, we're into a 3rd generation. We get stories all the time about someone who saw the early parade and then started taking their kids, and now their kids are bringing their kids. The theme for this year is Let It Glow. It still kind of takes to heart what they dreamed of at the beginning of it, that it was going to be a community event. The supervisor at that time, support of the community, the building of the community, the special things that Phoenix is and can be.
Welcome to Phoenix in about a minute. Today we visit an amazing site in North Phoenix, the Deer Valley Petroglyph Preserve, a quarter-mile-long nature walk featuring petroglyphs and natural desert plants. The preserve has an incredible museum and gallery with exhibits like the Southwest Ceramics, Manos en Metates, the Agave, the Hedgepath Hills Historical Exhibit, and the Roosevelt Platform Mound Study. But the main attraction will always be the petroglyphs and the basalt boulders, more than 1,500 symbols full of history and storytelling from the indigenous cultures that lived here before us. So don't miss this amazing opportunity and visit this historical site right in your backyard.
Up until 1889, the majority of the water that was used by Phoenicians came from the actual original canal that went through town. In 1889, a man named John Gardner started the first city waterworks, which is where we're standing today. Water was delivered to this very spot at Verde Park by a redwood tunnel that extended for 30 miles to the east and the northeast. Part of the city waterworks in 1938 was this pump house. It was built with the intention of being an emergency pump house. Water has always been an important element of thriving in the Valley of the Sun. This pump house represents one of the few remaining structures that show how that water was transported in the early 20th century. And it's a wonderful piece of architecture here in the southwest corner of the Garfield Historic District that we can all continue to enjoy here at Verde Park.
Welcome to the Cesar Chavez Community Center, the City of Phoenix's newest recreation center here in the beautiful Levine Village. Come, I'll take you around. Over here, you will see the Cesar Chavez timeline. It's a great piece of work. As soon as you walk into the facility, you can see all the impact that Cesar Chavez has had in Arizona, and it's for you guys to see when you guys arrive. This here is our lovely gymnasium. It has basketball capacity, volleyball, pickleball. We have wonderful courts that are meant for youth and adult spaces. And this is also included in your membership when you register at phoenix.gov or at our front desk. Welcome to our multi-purpose room. This room is designed to have special events, meetings, take classes. It seats anywhere between 80 to 100 people and is reservable. This is our beautiful courtyard, along with lawn games where families can come and enjoy the beautiful Arizona weather. This space is also available to reserve for special occasions and special gatherings. And this is our beautiful teaching style kitchen that we have here at the Cesar Chavez Community Center. It is designed to teach classes here in our community. So if you're interested in cooking 101 or maybe baking, this might be a good class for you to come and take. We have stoves, refrigerators, microwaves, and I know this will be a great place for you to come and enjoy and learn to cook. And this is our wonderful game room space where it's designed for youth and adults to come hang out and engage in a friendly game of pool table, hockey, or foosball. This is also a great space for parents to come hang out while their children are taking classes here at our lovely community center. This is one of the amenities that is included in your membership here at the Cesar Chavez Community Center. And this is our beautiful upstairs fitness center that is designed with cardio machines, free weights, weight machines, and if fitness is one of your goals, this might be a place for you. Out here, we have this beautiful view of the Estrella Mountains, where while you're working out, you can have a great view here. This also has an outdoor space that is designed to take a class, maybe like an outdoor yoga or meditation class. Also a reservable space, so if you have a meeting and you'd like to enjoy the beautiful weather here in Levine, this might be the spot for you. And this is our wonderful indoor walking track. So if you don't want to be outside, you want to get out of the sun for a little bit, you can come in here and take some laps. It is used to walk or run, and keep in mind 14 laps is 1 mile. To the side, you will see all of our Levine historic photos. These photos date back to the 50s, and you will see some of the lovely traditions that still happen here in the Levine Village, such as the barbecue parade and the Levine Parade.
In the city of Phoenix, there are over 60 high schools. Today, we are in the very first one, Phoenix Union High School. We're in the auditorium building on campus facing Van Buren, right near 7th Street. The high school opened in 1897 in a home, a huge mansion actually, that was built by the then Territorial Attorney General, a guy by the name of Clark Churchill. At its peak, Phoenix Union High School was the largest high school west of the Mississippi, with over 6,500 students on a campus that spread out for 18 acres, 4 city blocks, and had 9 different buildings. Notable people who have graduated from here include Barry Goldwater and Steve Allen, the comedian. Over the years, not only did it serve educational purposes, but this was the center of Phoenix entertainment, civic events, meetings, conferences, etc. Now, the Phoenix Union High School District sprung from this school. Even though it no longer serves the purpose of educating our high school students, many Phoenicians who attended here over the years still love to say the motto, "Fight on, Coyotes."
Bienvenidos a Phoenix en un minuto, más o menos. Estamos aquí frente al edificio de Phoenix Union High School, construido en 1912, localizados en 512 East Van Buren Street. Los 3 edificios principales fueron diseñados con un hermoso estilo neoclásico por Norman Marsh: el edificio de artes y ciencias domésticas, el auditorio y el corredor de ciencias. La escuela sería segregada de 1928 a 1954 y se mantendría en un estatus de minoría mayoritaria hasta que la escuela cerrara en 1982, luego de una declive en las inscripciones. Actualmente, los edificios son parte de la Universidad de Arizona. El 15 de julio de 1982 sería incluido en el Registro Nacional de Lugares Históricos y en diciembre de 1985 serían añadidos al registro de
I'd like to call this meeting to order. Welcome to the January 7th, 2026 Public Safety and Justice Subcommittee. I'd like to introduce City Attorney Jennifer Vega. Ms. Vega, please explain the role of public comment.
Mr. Chair and committee members, during citizen comment, members of the public may address the subcommittee for up to 3 minutes on issues of interest or concern to them. The Arizona Open Meeting Law permits the subcommittee members to listen to the comments, but prohibits members from discussing or acting on the matters presented. Members of the public may speak for up to 2 minutes to comment on agenda items to be discussed. Comments must be related to the agenda item and the action being considered by the subcommittee. The City Council and staff cannot discuss or comment on matters related to pending investigations, claims, or litigation. The City Code requires speakers to present their comments in a respectful and courteous manner. Profane language, threats, or personal attacks on members of the public, council members, or staff are not allowed. A person who violates these rules will lose their opportunity to continue to speak. Thank you.
Thank you. I would also like to introduce our interpreter, Elsie Duarte, who will provide a brief announcement. Elsie?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. My name is Elsie Duarte. I will be providing Spanish interpretation during today's Public Safety and Justice Subcommittee session. I will now take a moment to address our Spanish-speaking audience. Buenos días, mi nombre es Elsie Duarte. Estaré interpretándole a nuestra audiencia de habla hispana durante esta sesión del Subcomité de Seguridad Pública y Justicia. Para escuchar la reunión en español presencialmente, favor de pasar por unos audífonos ubicados a la entrada de la sala de cámaras. Las personas registradas para hacer un comentario público sepa que podrán hablar libremente sin interrupciones durante el tiempo disponible. Sus comentarios serán interpretados al momento que usted termine de hablar. Gracias. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Okay, the first order of business is actually a call to the public, and in fact, we don't have anyone. Oh, we do have one person, and it's virtual. Okay, I believe it's Roberto. Can you hear us, Roberto?
Hi, hello?
Yes.
Yeah, are you able to hear me fine?
Yes, we can. Please proceed.
Good morning, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. My name is Roberto Borboya, and I'm the owner of Family Landscaping LLC. First, I want to sincerely thank our law enforcement officers, first responders, and city staff. Your dedication, long hours, and willingness to serve, often without recognition, do not go unnoticed. We are truly grateful for the sacrifices you and your families make to keep our community safe. I'm here today because our parks matter. They are places where families gather, kids play, and neighbors connect. When our parks are safe, clean, and welcoming, it strengthens the entire community. Public safety in these spaces isn't just about enforcement, it's about prevention, visibility, and partnership. I also want to speak honestly but respectfully. The gun violence we are seeing in our community is horrific. It's impacting families, children, and neighborhoods, and it's something we can no longer accept as normal. I believe the time has come for real change through unity, prevention, accountability, and support for those on the front lines. With respect, I'd also like to suggest that we consider all available support options when needed. We've seen in other places, like Washington, how the National Guard has been used to assist local law enforcement, not to replace them, but to support them during challenging times. Exploring that kind of support could help relieve pressure, increase presence, and improve safety in our parks and our downtown Phoenix, including our Arizona residents, while allowing our officers to focus on what they do best. I truly believe that when residents, local businesses, city leaders, law enforcement, first responders, and supporting agencies work together, we can create safer parks and safer communities for everyone. I'm here to offer support, help where I can, and be a part of the solution. Thank you again for your service, your time, and for listening. God bless you all, and God bless our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'm going to turn to one of our staff members, Mr. Zach Wallace, to make a brief statement.
Yeah, and want to thank Roberto for his comments today. So we did have him signed up for item number 1, which was the minutes, but we are taking that as a general public comment, which I think was just a sign-up clerical issue. So thank you, Roberto, for your public comment today.
Thank you, Mr. Wallace. Okay, first item on the agenda is approval of minutes. Approval of the minutes for PSJ minutes from November 5th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, passes unanimously. Thank you very much for that. Item number 2 is an update on the work and efforts of the Office of Accountability and Transparency, and we'll welcome Office of Accountability and Transparency Director Shannon Yohani to the table. Shannon, welcome.
Good morning, Chairman Robinson, Vice Mayor O'Brien, and Councilman Waring. I am truly happy and grateful to be here this morning to share with you all about continued growth and development at the Office of Accountability and Transparency. I'm pausing for the slides here. They don't seem to be responding. Who did that? Did you do that? Okay, thank you. Thank you. The OAT team continues to work diligently to exemplify and expand in each of our core functions, our 5 R's: reach, review, report, resolve, and repair. Before we get to those focus areas, a few general updates. Slide. In 2025, OAT grew by nearly 50%, growing from 9 to 13 staff. The folks responsible for receiving complaints, commendations, and questions, as well as reviewing department administrative reports, grew from 2 to 5. Once fully staffed, the team was able to enhance and develop our processes to better serve those who contact OAT and those who read our reports. A couple months ago, OAT hired its first attorney who has already established himself as a critical function of our office and will help us ensure that we are in line with all state and federal laws and city ordinances. The remaining 2 of our 15 allocated positions are in recruitment, following a reallocation and a reclassification to align the positions with OAT's current needs. We are aiming for being 100% staffed by early 2025, and we are definitely on target for that goal. Slide. In October 2025, 6 OAT staff traveled to Minneapolis to attend the 31st Annual National Association of Civilian Oversight of Law Enforcement's annual conference. After attending the conference, 3 of our staff, the OAT's mediation director, the review supervisor, and myself, have all met the requirements to be certified practitioners of oversight through NACOL. This required attendance at 2 conferences in 3 years, as well as required readings and a minimum of 40 hours of coursework. We will have additional team members certified through the next conference this fall as well. Also at NACOL this year, both our mediation director and I presented on panels. Along with my colleagues from Florida and Tennessee, I spoke on a panel about state preemption of local civilian oversight of law enforcement. Preemption is an ever-present existential threat to this critical work across the nation. It was an honor to share the table with my colleagues and engage with conference attendees about this critical topic. Kate presented on a panel that she coordinated titled "The Rise of Community Police Mediation Programs: Valuable Insights Gained Through Networking," where she shared about the national network she spearheaded connecting mediation leaders in the community police realm around the country. She also moderated a forum on the same topic. In addition to working on staffing and training, we have our day-to-day work of reach, report, review, and repair and resolve. Bridging reach, report, and review, the ordinance mandate to support services to impacted community members has also begun to take shape. OAT has connected with the Family Advocacy Center to open information sharing and mechanisms to support our shared work. The FAC's family advocates serve as the link between community members who've been involved in a critical incident and relevant city services, including the police department. Most incidents that fall under OAT's mandatory review authority are the same incidents where these skilled advocate services are dispatched. OAT's goal for 2026 is to further embed this partnership and engage in strategic initiatives to maximize the resources and knowledge in our shared spaces. We are currently reviewing 159 department administrative investigations and have published 37 reports as of this meeting. The most recent reports released on December 18th, and department responses are due on January 17th. OAT reports release monthly, and the Civilian Review Board will review reports approximately 2 months after the reports are publicly released. As of today, OAT has issued 25 independent recommendations across 25 reports. Some recommendations carry across multiple reports due to timing of report release and implementation dates. The department has agreed with 23 of those 25 recommendations. To date, the department has implemented or updated manuals or operations orders for all except the 3 newest agreed upon recommendations. Department disagreement with OAT recommendations was isolated to 2 reports and were fact specific. OAT has been able to review and verify that the department's implemented response effectively resulted in improvement in 3 recommendations. 1, identify the source of allegations or investigation initiation. 2, provide written analysis in support of findings. And 3, ensure that actual training completed is consistent with actual training ordered. All 3 of these ensure greater transparency as they give insight into why an investigation was conducted, whether it was department policy, external or internal complaint, how the department reached its conclusions and investigative findings, a key aspect of procedural fairness, and what remedies were actually implemented. Does the response accurately address the concern? The agreed upon recommendations focused on 2 primary areas of administrative investigations. 1, robust and complete Professional Standards Bureau investigations, and transparent documented reasoning to support decision-making. Number 1, robust and complete PSB investigations was handled through thorough interviewing about discrepancies in evidence and statements, all allegations, thorough interviewing regarding implicated law, policy, and training, and officers' consideration of de-escalation tactics and less than lethal methods. Additionally, reviewing all available relevant evidence, including body-worn camera, and conducting interviews, and addressing all potential policy violations or misconduct alleged or raised, and fully addressing all potential policy violations and misconduct. New recommendations focus on conducting a singular PSB investigation into certain uses of force during critical incidents. Transparent reasoning and decision-making. Oh, I apologize, we're missing a slide in my notes here. So, oh, no, it's right there. Transparent reasoning and decision-making. This listed detailing in-custody death evaluation criteria and providing written analysis of conclusions and decisions by PSB, the Critical Incident Review Board, and the police chief. For all additional agreed-upon OAT recommendations that have been implemented by the department, OAT has not yet completed a review of factually similar incidents to verify that the changes to operations orders or manuals have resulted in improvements. OAT will continue to review investigations to ensure that the implemented revisions meaningfully result in improved investigations, accountability, and transparency. OAT will begin releasing review reports of investigations that occurred after implementation efforts by the department in late 2026. As those reviews are conducted, OAT will assess whether the department's implemented actions resulted in meaningful improvements. The Civilian Review Board will hear the OAT reports and department responses approximately 60 days after publication. All OAT reports now reflect the department response due date as well as the date that each case will be heard by the board. OAT will connect with each council district as the board meetings are scheduled throughout the city. Following presentations by OAT and a PSB representative, the board issues findings on calendared reports and recommendations. There are 5 findings the board can issue after their review: adopt, adopt with revisions, decline with revisions, and additional information required. OAT staff will forward all board findings to the police chief and the city manager after each meeting. As OAT, the department, and the CRB work through the OAT recommendations, department responses, and CRB findings and recommendations, OAT staff will continue to track and report on the status of all recommendations, responses, and implementation results. The Civilian Review Board has held 4 formal business meetings to date and have accepted all OAT findings and recommendations without revision. PCC Section 20-1C requires OAT to conduct mediation to resolve disputes. To carry out this mandate, OAT has built a mediation program that allows for both department and individual officer mediations. Department and individual officer mediations are voluntary, confidential, and held in a neutral setting so participants can engage meaningfully and thoughtfully. OAT's mediation director has coordinated and conducted 7 department-level community police mediations to date. These department-level mediations typically address systemic or policy-level concerns from community members. In a recent successful mediation, a community member was frustrated by the lack of communication, poor customer service, and lengthy process from the Public Records Unit. Unit leadership was able to both effectively address and acknowledge the concerns. They also closed the loop by looking into the delay and providing the community member with updated status of their request. Both parties walked away feeling that the mediation effectively resolved the concerns and was time well spent. OAT is very close to finalizing the details of the individual officer mediation program and anticipates scheduling the first individual officer mediation in the next several weeks. Individual officer mediations will serve as an opportunity for one-to-one facilitated conversations between an officer and a community member as an alternative to the traditional complaint resolution process. Draft operations orders that provide high-level processes and guidance for these mediations are awaiting final approval at the department. OAT's community engagement team focuses on reach, with the goal to share widely and consistently about OAT's role with those most likely to access OAT services. This team has connected with more than 15,000 community members since we began recording in July 2024. The team has also tabled, attended, and presented at hundreds of events and organizations in the last year. With each contact and each event, the OAT team refines the message and method for best serving our community. In addition to this core function, the team has built and begun piloting OAT's inaugural Youth Outreach Program pilot. We've shared with each of you about the vision and value we hope for this program and are excited to continue the conversation with each of you as we bring it to high schools in your districts next year. Well, actually this year, in the coming up new academic year. The initial pilot for Reform Rising started this fall at South Mountain High School. 24 students, freshmen to seniors, participated. As a capstone to the semester, the students all reflected on issues and needs they see in their community. Hearing each student speak was powerful and inspirational. They see all the people of their communities and have a heart for equity, access, and empowerment. The community engagement team will continue to revise and refine the pilot to scale it up each subsequent semester. We look forward to sharing this pilot with you and your districts and for you to have the opportunity to see the brightness of these youth. These are some photographs. This is the first opportunity I've had to provide some photographs of all the different events that the OAT team attends. And so it's a collective office effort. So you'll see a variety. We have many cameos by all OATS staff, including the backbone of OATS Community Engagement Program, which are Emmett Boyd, Ezzy Castillo, and Vanessa Mendoza. So members of the community can reach OAT by phone, email, or in person at the OAT office. We have reviewers available Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 p.m. to receive complaints or commendations in person or by phone. Members can also leave a voicemail or send an email, and we will respond during those business hours. Thank you, Public Safety and Justice Subcommittee, for your continued opportunities to share about OAT and the great work that this team is doing.
Shannon, thank you. I'll turn to my colleagues, see if anybody has any questions. Vice Mayor O'Brien.
Thank you, Chair. The youth outreach program, you said you'll be reaching out in the new school year. Do you know which school district or school you'll be working with?
We don't. So our plan is to come and meet with the individual council districts and see if there are particular schools in each district. As a matter of scaling, we'll only be able to add 2 to 3 schools in the fall, but we plan to come around and have those conversations with each district if there are particular schools that you've identified.
And you're at South Mountain?
We are currently at South Mountain High School.
South Mountain. And so is that program continuing through this semester?
Yes. So the team conducted surveys at the beginning of the program and surveys at the end of the program to see what the students thought. We're working on refining the partnerships with the schools and developing that process, and then refining also the curriculum to ensure that we're meeting the students' needs at the school. As we move from school to school, 5 weeks of the 11-week curriculum will remain the same, and that's the Juvenile Justice Jeopardy program that we've developed. But the other 5 weeks of the program, the 11th week is graduation, but the other 5 weeks that are substantive of the program will be based on a survey that's conducted at the beginning of the semester with the students to see what their interests are in learning. So those individual 5 weeks will be tailored because different school districts and different schools may have different issues that they're facing. So at South Mountain, we conducted that survey, and there were certain things that their kids were particularly interested in. So we had weeks regarding education, we had weeks regarding law, we had weeks with police, and so we try to tailor those in between based on the community needs.
And did you survey them after the completion?
They did. They did survey them after the completion, and we're working on putting that information together. So when we come around to the council districts, we will have that information to share.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Shannon, I had 2 quick questions. The first one is on slide 7. You don't necessarily have to go back to slide 7, but it's about when the department, your department and the police department, you agreed on 23 of the 25 recommendations. Who breaks the tie? You know, let's say you have those 23, there's 2 of them that you guys do not agree on. The chief is, stalwart where he is at. You feel that maybe that particular recommendation needs to move forward. What happens then? Can you explain that process, if there is a process, or does it just fall off the table?
Well, initially, those first 2, the 2 that were disagreed with, were early on in OAT's process, and so it was also pre-civilian review board. And so at that time, they kind of just sat there. And also, those 2 were really specific to the facts of those individual cases. Going forward, what we anticipate, one, we've developed processes since those initial reports where executive leadership at the police department and I engage in a conversation before the report's released so that they have an understanding of what we're asking for. We have an understanding of what their concerns are, and we try to resolve any possible disagreements before that. We anticipate that should there be disagreement on a recommendation, that ultimately probably the tiebreaker would be the Civilian Review Board. And so the Civilian Review Board, that's part of what they do, is they review OAT's recommendations. And so they could choose to adopt them. Exactly the way that would work, it's sort of hard to say in terms of, if it's a financial lift for the department or there's things that are maybe just not procedurally possible, but OAT works very hard to be intentional and understand the scope of what the department is able to do when making recommendations. So I don't anticipate many opportunities to have to flesh that out.
Okay, thank you. And my other question, last question, it comes down to the mediation program. Can you give us an example of what type of an issue would be mediated between a police officer and someone who's making a complaint against an officer?
So my Councilman Chairman Robinson, my understanding is what those would be. So there's the department level, which are systemic policy, broader lack of service complaints. Individual officers would focus on things like unprofessional conduct, rudeness, Things like you responded to the scene, there was this particular point of crisis. The benefit of mediation, especially we live in Phoenix, it's 115 degrees out, officers are responding in escalated situations, individuals are escalated. There may be ways that officers engage that maybe they don't understand the impact it has on community members or vice versa. And it gives that opportunity in that de-escalated setting for a community member to say, hey, the way that this happened wasn't okay, and here's the impact that it had on me. One of the examples we talk about sometimes is an officer responds to a call, and as you know, Councilman, oftentimes there can be some coarse language in the course of policing that I know the department is working hard, but when we are escalated and in those emotions, they can be less polished maybe than we would hope. And somebody's swearing around somebody's children, right? And so, and sort of that feeling and what that impact would be, they could have that conversation later. So it's a lot of times it's those lack of service, professionalism, rudeness sort of complaints that would come from community members or misunderstandings. Sometimes we have folks that say the officer came out and said they weren't going to take a report for the collision, right? So the officer can respond and say, well, here's what our policy is. And then also, so the community member can understand, but also express their frustration for why it wasn't resolved in the way they thought it should be.
Okay, thank you very much for that. No other questions with that? Shannon, excellent presentation. Thank you very much. Really appreciate all the work that you and your department are doing. Item number 3 is an overview and updates to the city's animal ordinance and other efforts to address animal welfare concerns. And so we'll welcome Phoenix Police Lieutenant Karen Hudson to the table. Karen, thank you, and the floor is yours.
Good morning, Chairman Robinson and Council Member Waring and Councilwoman O'Brien. My name is Karen Hudson. I'm a lieutenant with the Property Crimes Bureau, and one of my responsibilities is to oversee animal crimes. Oh, this is the one. Okay, first we're going to discuss animal crimes investigations, and we're going to go back to 2022. Back in 2022, we had one assigned detective that was an animal crimes detective, and we had a sergeant. Back in 2022, we had to redistribute resources to patrol. So we lost our animal crimes detective to patrol, and then she later retired. So during the time frame of 2022 to 2024, we had to redistribute, cases to all of the PCB, property crimes detectives, and police civilian investigators. And when I refer to PCIs, that's what I'm referring to going forward. Currently, we do have one sergeant that is over animal crimes. He does split his time between animal crimes and also miscellaneous property crimes. So he not only handles animal crimes, but he handles other property crimes as well. He is here with me, Sergeant Milo Kaufman. He's also considered our subject matter expert in anything animal related. We also have one PCI that arrived in May of 2024. She's a civilian investigator, and she is also here, Rainey Scherer. When looking at animal crimes, we also decided to test what other agencies were doing around the valley. We only found out that one agency, Maricopa County Sheriff's Department, has a dedicated animal crimes detail. They have one sergeant, 2 detectives, and 2 PCIs. They're the only ones in the valley that do have a dedicated animal crimes detail. All the others that are listed here, Avondale, Chandler, Glendale, Tempe, Mesa, Buckeye, Goodyear, and Queen Creek, all have no dedicated detail, but they do refer their crimes to their general crimes detectives or whatever they call their criminal investigation bureau. Now, if we go back to animal cruelty, back in the ordinance of 2023, we clarified definitions of animal and livestock, updated the definition of adequate shelter, and established requirements related to restraint of a dog. In that definition, the word livestock was removed in 2023. That is updated to talk about meat eaters only in a different definition. It also updated the definition of cruel neglect in 2023, which means to fail to provide an animal with necessary food that is appropriate for the species and fit for consumption, water that is suitable for drinking, or shelter suitable for the weather conditions. Definition of the cruel neglect added the word adequate. It was a much more detailed definition of adequate rather than just shelter. So it helps officers to better define if a person is violating a shelter ordinance. It added natural or artificial cover, which was accessible throughout the year. Shelter had to be structurally sound and maintained in good repair to protect the animal from any injury and be of sufficient size to permit the animal to enter, turn around, and lie down in a natural manner. Must protect the animal from extreme weather conditions, as we see here in Arizona during the summer months, and have adequate ventilation and drainage, and shall be maintained in a manner which minimizes the risk of disease infestations or parasites. Now, this helped officers actually enforce those a little bit better when it comes to shelter, so they understand what an adequate shelter is rather than just saying shelter. It's harder for individuals to differentiate. So this made it a lot easier. When talking about unlawful restraint of a dog, we also call that tethering. They updated the language to take the word chain out of the definition because a chain is really not very humane for an animal to be chained. But it still contains a rope, a tether, a leash, or a cable, or a stationary object or trolley system. We look back at citations that were issued prior to 2023 for tethering, and we had a total in 2021 and 2022 of 5. After the ordinance went into effect, it went up a little bit and increased by 6 within 2 years in 23 and 24. We looked at animal cruelty bookings prior to 2023 ordinance, and in 2021 we had 29, 2022 we had 27. After the ordinance we went up to 37, and in 24 went up to 34, so that increased by 15 in the 2-year period. So when talking about the reasons why we think the tethering and animal cruelty violations increased, after the 2023 ordinance update, we implemented the Phoenix 311 system, which I'll explain in another slide later. We did a training video for officers for the entire department to understand how to investigate animal crimes, and we obtained our police civilian investigator. So the Phoenix 311 system was created back in September of 2023. This is a system that allows citizens to report violations that they see of maybe neighbors for tethering, animal cruelty, or shelter violations. They are able to report this into a website. They don't have to call an officer to come out to their house. They can just do it simply by the website. They can call in, like, for example, if somebody reports a tethering violation, that somebody has an animal tethered in over 100 degrees in the summer, they can send that violation into the 311 system. And what happens is that violation gets forwarded to one of the 4 stakeholders that are listed below: the Phoenix PD, and Arizona Humane Society, Maricopa County Animal Care and Control, or Neighborhood Services Detail. So if it is the first time that a violation occurs, Neighborhood Services Detail will send a letter out to the homeowner to advise them of what the violation is and how to fix that. So it's educating the public first before any kind of enforcement is involved. So after implementing the Phoenix 311, we went back and looked at how many complaints we had. We had 249 total complaints. 119 were for neglect, 69 for improper shelter, and 20 were for tethering complaints. So more individuals were being educated prior to any enforcement action through the 311 system. I just wanted to discuss the differences between Humane Society and Maricopa County Animal Care and Control, because quite often that is confused. People are confused between the two. Officers are also confused at times. Humane Society, they conduct cruelty investigations, and they take the animals for seizure and care for them. So if an officer deems it's necessary to seize an animal due to a cruelty investigation, the Humane Society will respond. And we work very closely with the Humane Society, and they take the animal and they care for the animal until the animal can either be returned to the owner or up for adoption at a later time. In the Maricopa County Animal Care and Control, they deal with loose dogs, animal bites, and licensing. Now moving forward, I know this is a wordy slide, updated definition of cruel neglect means to fail to provide an animal with necessary food, water, or shelter, or to provide a domestic animal with any of the following, except for a dog that primarily lives outdoors, access to shelter that is necessary and adequate. It goes into the definition of working animals, such as police, military, or patrol work, herding or livestock guarding, trials, or other lawful competitions, service animals, assistant work, and other working, sporting, and competitive functions, or under the custody of a person that has control of an animal that has no permanent place of residence. So with that being said, we do have a city code that we can enforce that allows for no exceptions. Therefore, we can still enforce city codes reference people experiencing homelessness when it's very necessary to protect the animal from being left outside. Moving forward with the new ordinance of 2025, the Senate Bill 1658, the failing to provide medical attention was always present in ARS 132910A2, which read protracted suffering. So it required protracted suffering of an animal, which in layman's terms is to prolong the suffering of the animal. So you have to let them suffer. It added in the new ordinance A17, which only requires unreasonable suffering. This allows officers a lot more leeway, and it's a lot easier to identify unreasonable suffering than it is to sit and watch an animal suffer over time. This was a result of the Chandler 55, and if you haven't heard of the Chandler 55, this included a lady named April McLaughlin who had 55 animals in her backyard, and she was operating what she called a rescue. And like most rescue owners, they mean well, but it got out of hand and she wasn't able to care for the animals. Most of these animals were disabled and had medical conditions and required a lot more work. So it got out of hand. Chandler PD had to wait for the protracted suffering to be able to do anything, and it took a lot longer for police to get in and rescue those animals. So they have added this new ordinance for unreasonable suffering, which makes our job as police officers a lot easier. It's also known as Jerry's Law.
Karen, excuse one question.
Sure.
Councilman Waring has a question.
So for someone like the person you just referenced, I know it's Chandler, not us, but are there services, like if somebody like that, who should be able to recognize, I've taken on more than I can handle. I had good intentions, to your point, not animal haters, probably animal lover. I don't think you'd take in 55 animals if you, so, but at some point it got out of hand, you didn't want to say no, now you've got too many animals. Are there like if they called you and said, hey, I've got this situation, I don't want the animals to be put down, you know, what am I supposed to do? Can we provide guidance if people are proactive on addressing their own issue?
Yes, sir. Councilman Waring, they can call us and we can assist with Humane Society. They can actually own or surrender animals to Humane Society at any time that they feel they need help. And Humane Society will come out and discuss that with them at times if it's ever needed.
I guess does that ever happen? Because it just, again, you know, we offer help or we can direct you to help, but you got to call us. We can't go in every backyard to see if you got 55 animals back there.
Right. Councilman Waring, yes, it does happen at times. People do call us. Neighbors will call at times too, and we'll go investigate alongside with the Humane Society and make sure that the animals are okay. A lot of times we just do a welfare check with the Humane Society and make sure that the individual is educated on how to handle the animals, or if they need help, or they offer free veterinary care at times too.
Or just, Mr. Chair, just anything that might give guidance like, hey, here's what's expected, here's what the rules are. I'm sure people don't have all these committed to memory. I don't, I'm on the council. So just anything to kind of help citizens, because I accept what you say about well-intentioned. And in most of the cases, promise you're not everyone, but just something that if you can promote that and make sure people are aware as much as you can, that'd be great.
Councilman Waring, of course. To that point, Chair. Oh, one more.
Thank you so much, Chair, and thank you, Karen. Relative to Councilman Waring's question, and I appreciate that the Arizona Humane Society is a resource for folks, but do we also provide information about other potential resources? Because I know that I've heard concerns about maybe turning over an animal to the Arizona Humane Society, and not because they have their rules relative to how long they can keep animals and spacing, and so there are some rescues that will do everything they can before they have to put an animal down. So do we have other resources that we might make them aware of?
Councilman O'Brien, we do have a contract with the Humane Society, so that is our first go-to.
That's the first go-to? Okay.
Yes, so we do refer people to the Humane Society first so that they can be cared for there.
Okay.
They have the best interests of the animal at heart, so.
Maybe we could explore offline and talk about
Definitely.
that. Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. So like I said, this is also known as Jerry's Law. And what would an animal presentation be without an animal in the photos? So this is Jerry. Jerry was one of the 55 that was rescued from Chandler. So we put a picture of him in there. He is actually at a new rescue now, and he's living out his life, and he's happy and healthy, and he's adorable. In the development initiatives that the department has taken on, we have done monthly meetings with the Arizona Humane Society. We meet often and talk about cases that we have in common and work alongside with them often. We do quarterly meetings with city and county attorneys. I have Sergeant Milo Kaufman and PCI Rainey Scherer do post-academy trainings through all of our post-academy that come out of the academy so that the officers understand how to investigate animal crimes and what kind of things to look for and what kind of things to put in their reports. We've done revisions to our seizure forms. Prior, we had two different forms. We had a welfare form and we had a cruelty form, which is quite confusing because they look very similar. And we combined those into one. And just the difference in the two is a cruelty investigation. A welfare is where a person is either hospitalized, has died, or has been arrested. So Humane Society will come out and take custody of that animal until the person gets out of the hospital, is out of jail, or a next of kin can take care of the animal. And if not, then the animal is put up for adoption. We continuously update our policies to make sure that we are in line with the new ordinance that come out. We've been doing training with animal liaison officers. We did training in September of 2025 and completed that with all the animal liaison officers that we have throughout the city. We have animal liaison officers in every precinct and on every shift. They are there to help the regular patrol officers with guiding them through animal investigations because they have slightly more knowledge from the training that they learn from us. We're currently creating a training video for the whole department with questions to test their knowledge that is retained, and the target date for that to be released is May of 2026. We also conduct briefings for those squads that would like additional training. And we also participate in quarterly meetings with other agencies because the rescues that are around the valley move across city boundaries all the time, and we want to make sure we're all on the same page and discussing the same things and how we enforce this. Just a recap of what we discussed was animal crimes details, 2023 ordinance, the updates since 2023, the Phoenix 311 system, the Senate Bill 1658, which resulted from Chandler 55, and the development initiatives. And that concludes the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll go back to see if my either colleagues. We do have another question from Vice Mayor.
Thank you for the presentation. And then you report the 457 complaints since September of 2023. And then you reported some numbers earlier on bookings and citations. And the difference between the 457, and I didn't do the math on the other part, but the other number adds up to 457. Do we know how those ended, if they did receive the educational outreach from NSD, or if there was some other action taken by the department?
Councilman O'Brien, could I divert that to my sergeant who
Of course.
he monitors those on a regular basis?
Absolutely.
Sergeant Kaufman, yes, if we come on up. Milo, we want to put you on the spot.
Okay, good morning. So the numbers we provided there are the ones that are typically arrested and cited by patrol. So the number of cases that are cleared by arrests by the field. We go on, and I don't have numbers, but we will review all the cases and we submit cases to city prosecutors or the county attorney's office. Some cases end up being education, excuse me, with the Humane Society. Sometimes some of the cases we're working with Neighborhood Services Department. And then some of those cases are also cases that go over to county for dog bites, loose dogs, and cases like those.
So I think that's probably a question for you, Lori. And I know there's a long list of things for the system to track, but again, I think this is important to know as we make modifications and changes, how the cases ultimately end up in our system so that we can look at this data point. And I know that, like I said, I know there's a long list of changes for the new system.
Yes, ma'am, and we will look into what it would take in order to be able to track that information if there are changes that would need to be made or how we would do that. So we'll look into that.
Thank you. And I appreciate all the work. I know that the detective, when we lost that detective who was the animal crimes detective, she did a lot of work. And so I'm glad to see that we have modified our process and brought folks back into handling these. And thank you for all the work you've done in the presentation today. Appreciate it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I'll reiterate what the Vice Mayor just said. It's an excellent presentation. Karen, we thank you for you and your entire team. Albeit a small team, I get it, clearly, but you're doing a great deal of work, one that comes to the attention of a large segment of our community. So we thank you for all the work that you're doing. Excellent presentation, and keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our final presentation today will be provided by the Phoenix Police Commander William Joe and Commander Leif Myers. They will provide a quarterly update on the Phoenix Police Department's hiring, recruitment, and attrition, not attention, but attrition.
Attention to the attrition.
Yes, exactly. So, Commanders, welcome to the table, and the floor is yours.
Good morning, Chairman Robinson, Vice Mayor O'Brien, Councilman Waring, members of the subcommittee. I'm here to present the January 2026 update on the Phoenix Police Department's recruitment, hiring, and attrition, along with my partner, Commander Leif Myers. This report reflects our ongoing efforts to strengthen staffing, improve diversity, and enhance efficiency in our hiring pipeline. And again, for this presentation, I want to thank our partners in HR and BNR for working tirelessly to meet numerous deadlines to meet providing the stats. So as of October 2025, we have 2,493 filled sworn positions and 144 recruits for a total of 2,637 filled positions. We made a significant investment in our pipeline. The recruits in the academy have nearly doubled from 83 to 144 in that year. This is a positive indicator that our hiring strategies are gaining traction, even as we work to close the gap toward our target of 3,125 sworn officers. In 2025, as of October 31st, we've seen a substantial increase in the number of applicants each month compared to 2024. For example, in January of 2025, we received 518 applications, and that's more than double the 234 received in the prior year. This upward trend continues throughout the year, with October reaching 504 applicants compared to 380 in the previous year. This surge in interest reflects the success of our outreach campaigns, community engagement efforts, and improvements in the application process. It also suggests a growing public interest in law enforcement careers, which we aim to capitalize on through efficient processing and timely onboarding. This slide shows the total number of police recruit applications received in 2024 and 2025, and we further break it down by gender. In 2024, we received 503 applications from female candidates and 2,541 from male candidates. In 2025, those numbers increased significantly to 813 female applicants and 3,716 male applicants. This growth in applications across the categories is a strong indicator that our recruitment outreach is resonating with a broader audience. The 62% increase in female applicants is especially encouraging, as it reflects our efforts to promote law enforcement careers to women through targeted campaigns, community partnerships, and visibility is continuing to grow. And we're continuing to monitor these trends closely, and we are committed to ensuring that our hiring process remains equitable and inclusive. In 2025, we've seen a notable increase in lateral.
Excuse me, one quick second, Commander.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Your first slide, you know, we're at 2,493 sworn officers as of October 2025. That's about 97, that is 97 less than 2022. So over a 3-year period, we have less. I'm assuming the next thing you might say to that is, but we have 144 recruits as opposed to 75. That's still a loss of roughly net 30. In 3 years, we've gone backwards. I don't think we should be using words like, I don't know what words, improvement or anything else. It's just hard to characterize it that way when you look at this as a baseline. And the proof is in the pudding. How many officers do we have? We have fewer. How many recruits we have? We have more, but it doesn't make up the difference between what we had before and even total positions full. We're short of that too. So I guess keep trying. I'm not impugning your guys' efforts, but we need to be realistic with the public, anybody who's watching as well. Thank you.
We're at number 3. Okay. This slide highlights the total number of recruit hires made in 2024 and 2025. In 2024, we hired 159 recruit officers. In 2025, that number increased to 206. This is a 30% increase in the recruitment and hiring. We've made targeted efforts to attract recruits through community engagement recruitment, streamlined application processing, and showcasing Phoenix PD as a department that values experience and offers strong career development opportunities. This slide provides a snapshot of total lateral hires made in 2024 and 2025. In 2024, we hired 8 lateral officers. In 2025, that number more than doubled to 17. While the absolute numbers are smaller than our recruit hires, the increase is significant, since lateral hires are a strategic asset and they bring prior law enforcement experience, require less training time, and can often be deployed more quickly. This growth reflects our targeted efforts to attract them from other agencies, particularly those looking for a department with more development opportunities and a supportive culture. We're continuing to invest in this pipeline, and we anticipate further growth in 2026 as we expand our outreach nationwide. This slide provides a male and female hires breakdown of the total sworn by gender. While male applicants still outnumber female hires, we've seen a slight increase in female hires from 22 in 2024 to 23 in 2025. And this is as of October 31st, so we will wait on the November, December numbers to finish off the year. To speak about our efforts towards hiring more women, and we have the 30 by 30 initiative update. Over the past month, we have begun to be more focused on 30 by 30. Recently, we met with Dr. Anya Meisenholder, who leads the National 30 by 30 initiative and is the Director of Gender Equity for Policing Project at the NYU School of Law. She praised our continued dedication to the 30 by 30 initiative and our social media, marketing, and recruiting practices, which she reviewed with our team. In addition, she helped identify areas where we could improve, such as increased visibility at women-focused expos and job fairs. A project to support 30 by 30 includes an event that we recently concluded on December 6th in partnership with the Police Foundation. Over 30 female applicants and interested community members joined the female officers and leaders within the department and met for a brunch and discussed career opportunities. To further strengthen our 30 by 30 initiative, I have met with Commander Julie Agia, who has agreed to lead the Phoenix initiative. Julie is a recognized leader within the department and already volunteers much of her own time to mentor women in law enforcement. Julie has already identified a core group of women leaders to assist us in future projects. I'm going to meet with her actually this Friday, and we are excited to continue the 30 by 30 work with her leadership. In addition to our 30 by 30 initiative, we continue to strive to employ a diverse department reflective of our community. This chart shows the ethnic breakdown of applicants as of October 31st, 2025. Hispanic and white applicants make up the largest groups, followed by Black and Asian applicants, and these applications rates closely mirror the demographic breakdowns of our community and reflect our success in reaching applicants from throughout our community. This slide shows the ethnic breakdown of actual hires. While we've made progress, there's still room to improve in representation across several groups, particularly the American Indian and Pacific Islander communities. Again, like the applications, the hired numbers closely mirror county and city demographics. This chart shows the number of hires per academy class, and as we've seen a consistent growth in 2025 with class sizes increasing steadily, and Commander Myers shortly will brief you on the academy and FTO programs as well. Attrition is highest among officers with less than 1 year of service and those with over 21 years. Early career attrition often reflects challenges in adjusting to the demands of the role, while late career attrition reflects retirement eligibility. Recently, the Organizational Integrity Bureau with Commander Brian Knupel has been tasked with utilizing their staff to conduct exit interviews and formalizing that process. This unit also monitors early intervention data such as hours worked, sick leave, and other stressors that could lead to early retirement. By analyzing these data sets, along with the exit interviews, Commander Knupel and I hope to identify new and innovative ways to enhance employee wellness and retention. This slide provides a multi-year view of attrition.
1 second, Commander. I think Vice Mayor O'Brien has a question.
So on that slide that you were just on, the projected drop for November and December, I realize 25 just ended. Are those folks who completed their drop? Because when you go into drop, you have a maximum of 5 years. You can, depending on who you are, extend it up to 2 years, correct? Okay. So I would ask on those 18, do we know, are those projected because they are reaching their maximum?
Yes, Chairman Robinson, Vice Mayor O'Brien, and Councilman Waring. Yes, those are those that would be completing their 5-year drop or completing their 7-year, those who have extended. So that includes both people. These are people that would be completing drop.
They're people you know that
Yes.
have to retire because there's no alternative but to retire. So those numbers could be higher if someone chose to leave prior to the end of their drop or chose not to utilize drop, correct?
Yes, that's correct, Vice Mayor.
And given the timing of this report, is there any way for you to have an indication if there are others in the pipeline to retire to have been retired during those months?
Mr. Chair, Vice Mayor, members of the subcommittee, we are trying to give you projected separations that we are sure are going to happen. If we do get additional information, for example, a retirement memo from someone who has said, yes, definitely I'm going to retire, we could talk about including that in the presentation as a separate figure, if that's something of interest to the subcommittee. We would just hate to have suppositions or other assumptions in the presentation when we're not sure yet if someone has made the decision to retire.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense, and I appreciate the clarification and for you to make sure that the numbers are as accurate as you know them at the time. So do appreciate that. And I realize I jumped in before you were going to your next slide, but I am still incredibly concerned about our retirements, and especially those who retire prior to their full drop years, and even those who could, not just the 5, but that could extend. And it is a little disheartening. I mean, I'm glad we're doing it, but I thought we were already doing it, is the exit interviews. So can you talk a little bit more how that's, because I thought we were doing those, and you've now said someone's been, I guess, we'll definitely do it. So help me understand what we were doing and what's going to happen now.
Yes, Chairman Robinson, Vice Mayor O'Brien, Councilman Warren, I apologize, I misspoke. We are starting a newer process. We have been doing the exit interviews. In fact, the ones that are happening at the academy, especially concerning with the people that are leaving with less than 1 year.
Right.
Each of those individuals are meeting actually directly with the executive staff. So Chief of Staff Jen LaRock, Assistant Director Court Hood, Assistant Director Joe Klima, or someone from exec staff meets individually with each of those individuals and gathers information for what it is that we could do to improve, what is the life-changing decision that caused them to now decide they want to retire before completing the academy.
Right.
And then we've expanded that now further to also include like a formalized process where when they go to HR, when they are going to exit, that we have this Organizational Integrity Bureau that's going to handle intake of more statistical information, more exit interviews, and of that nature.
For all officers,
For
or
all
just
officers.
Okay, so I knew about the process that we were doing for those who were with less than a year, but now we're going to do it to include anybody else that is outside of that time frame. Okay, and I guess again, that was where my confusion. I thought we were doing that for all. And so apologize. Why are, I'm not going to ask it. It's again frustrating that we're just now incorporating that for the rest of the officers, especially those who leave the time on the table, the money on the table. Do we have any idea how many officers are walking away without using drop? And could you report that number to us if we know it?
Chairman Robinson, Vice Mayor O'Brien, Councilman Warren, we don't have that currently, and that is something that we can work on in providing for you on the next update.
Okay, that would be great to understand how many are walking away either without using drop at all or leaving before their drop time period is completely finished.
And Mr. Chair, Vice Mayor, members of the subcommittee, we can provide that data. We just don't have it with us today, so we will collect
Wonderful.
that.
And if you would send it out, and then if you would include it in future reports, that would be great.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
No worries. Okay, please continue.
This slide provides a multi-year view of attrition types. While retirements and drop exits have remained relatively stable, we've seen a decline in early drop and other separations in 2025, which is a positive trend. As a follow-up to the subcommittee's request from our last presentation, we benchmarked against peer agencies to analyze our recruitment efficiency. The agencies that were closest related at the time of our report was Houston and San Antonio. Phoenix PD demonstrates competitive performance in recruitment efficiency when compared to those peer agencies. Peer agencies were identified due to their similarity to Phoenix PD in geographical location and population size. Houston is the 4th largest city in the United States, and Phoenix is the 5th. San Antonio is the 7th. The department's recruitment process is relatively efficient with key steps such as applicant packet completion, polygraph, psychological evaluation, and medical screening, each taking individually between 11 and 33 days. Final review adds an additional 30 days. And while these timelines are commendable, further reductions could be achieved through strategic staffing increases. The department is looking at and analyzing to address these constraints in the coming months by expanding the employment looking to expand the Employment Services Unit and Academy staff if financially it is allowable. These enhancements aim to reduce processing times, increase class sizes, and ultimately meet the growing demand for SOAR personnel. The average hiring time in Phoenix is 130 days, with the fastest hires completed in just 60 days. This compares favorably to the 3 to 6 month timelines reported by other cities. This is the 3 to 6 month reporting time is when we contacted the other agencies, and the reason that it's a time span and not a specific time is because when we looked at how other cities measure recruitment and hiring efficiency, everybody reports it a little bit differently. Some report it as the time the person actually applies to the time they hire, and other people report it as, well, once they apply, if they're accepted by the Human Resources Department as a viable candidate, that's when the clock starts, and then they move on to hire. So there's a variation, but Houston and San Antonio were confident in reporting 3 to 6 months as their timeline to us. This shows that with motivated candidates and efficient processing for Phoenix, we can move quickly with our new automated texting communications platform and reminder system, and we believe we will see increased efficiencies continue to accelerate our process. Phoenix runs more academies per year than our peer cities, 7 compared to 6 in Houston and 5 in San Antonio. However, our average class size is smaller, and we have fewer background investigators, just 18 compared to 60 in Houston. And now I'll turn it over to Commander Myers to speak up.
Before we move any further, Vice Mayor has a question.
So given the fact that we have significantly less background investigators, do we think that, I get that we are already ahead of the curve by 60 days, but is there a need for additional background investigators to help us out? I mean, our class sizes are smaller, and could our class sizes be bigger? How big of a class could you have?
So I'll leave the Councilman.
I was going to say, I think Commander Myers is going to get into that.
Yes.
I jumped ahead, of course. I apologize.
Good morning, Chairman Robinson, Vice Mayor O'Brien, members of the subcommittee. I'm Commander Leif Myers. Thank you for your time this morning and the opportunity to provide you with an update on the Academy and field training staffing. If we take a look at this first slide, the Academy comparisons over time, it's a snapshot for the last 3 years. If you look in 2025, we've already hired over 200 recruits this year and have maintained an over 85% retention rate this year. This has been the highest retention rate of the last 3 years. As of today, we have 4 Academy classes operational with 120 recruits. As of January 20th, we will have an additional Academy class start pre-Academy, and we'll have a graduating class graduating on January 28th. Moving on to some of the attrition concerns and issues. In 2023, moving forward, we started to capture reasons why recruits leave the Academy. The top 3 are personal reasons, rule violations, and proficiency concerns.
Commander, one quick second.
You bet.
Can I just make an observation about the proficiency concerns? I don't know what that would entail, maybe give examples, but regardless, in sports you see that people tend to focus on everybody's weaknesses rather than strengths. So if somebody isn't, probably a bad example in your line of work, but if they're not the best shot, is there some, but they're very good at something else, investigating or analytical or breaking down numbers or stats or something, you know, I hope you're trying to find ways to utilize the skills that they do have, which might be better than somebody who's better at a different part of the job, instead of looking for just well-rounded cookie-cutter players. You know, in sports, not every player is going to be perfect or dominant. There are a few, but if you'd look for a whole team like that, it's never going to happen. So, I mean, are you doing that? I hope you are. You probably already thought of this, but yeah.
Chairman Robinson, Councilman Waring, members of the subcommittee, yes, we do look at that. A lot of the proficiency concerns are actually safety concerns on the firing range. Those safety issues, those can't be ignored. So,
I guess, Mr. Chair, I'm not saying they should be ignored, but I mean, are there at least, you have civilian roles and so forth? I mean, at this point, these are people who are already in the account, like expenditure of taxpayer money has been spent to quite a degree at that point. To just say, you know, you can't work here, that's tough. Do you try to find other placements or ways that they've come this far themselves, so they want to serve, they want to help their community. Are we doing that? Or is it just out the
Chairman
door?
Robinson, Councilman Waring, members of the subcommittee, yes. Before we remove a recruit from the academy, we then communicate with employment services and look for viable opportunities for employment within the city for those employees.
All right. Okay.
Again, personal reasons is the overwhelming majority of the three, citing family concerns. We have since modified the academy format to help address this issue. We've actually implemented a layer approach starting with day one. The first day of the academy, command staff speaks with the recruits to provide positive communication, ensuring success with hard work. We just reformatted family night to instill positive family dynamics, food and academy tours, reassuring families of recruits' safety and success. Before any recruit dismissal, they have a free-flowing conversation with command staff where we provide feedback, discuss performance, and in some cases allow them to take extra time to discuss with family before their final decision. And then lastly, like Commander Joe indicated, they are provided an exit interview with the executive team to again have that open dialogue on their experience. Moving into our field training program, this year we're currently operating at a 91% retention rate compared to 72% last year. We already have more OITs, or officers in training, this year compared to all of last year. Just to note, the 2025 numbers are fluid, and this number may change slightly depending upon the November and December data. And lastly for me, where are they now, the officers in training? The last 3 calendar years of complete data, we've had 445 completed or currently in our field training program. There are currently 356 that remain active sworn officers, so almost 75%. 64 have separated the department, and 25 we were able to transition into civilian positions. So 80% of our current officers in training have maintained city employment. And with that, I'll turn it over to Commander Joe for the closing.
Thank you to the subcommittee for your attention, and I appreciate the questions. To summarize, key takeaways, we are looking to, in 2026, continue to achieve competitive hiring timelines. Our biggest constraint has been identified currently as staffing, and we're going to investigate further as to what that looks like in terms of staffing background investigators and academy capacity. Our 2026-2027 plan continues to include strategic planning for the 30 by 30 initiative, and then also the staffing increases potentially at employment services and academy with council's permission. So thank you for your time, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Sure, I have a couple of things, and if I could, if we can have Chief Giordano come to the table as well, but I do have a couple of questions. I'll have a couple for him, but let me make a couple of general statements. Earlier, with the most recent class that started, I had the opportunity to come out and sit back and just watch the onboarding process, for lack of a better word. And Commander Myers and his staff out at the training academy are placing a greater emphasis on, and I think this might go to a question that Councilman Waring had when it comes to proficiency. Commander Myers and his staff are making a commitment, and I think Chief of Staff LaRock has a lot to do with this, making a commitment to ensuring that we are providing the people that we're spending a whole lot of money on to hire and have the skill set to do the job. We're ensuring that they're on a path for success, that if there are areas where they're not as proficient or they have skill sets in other areas. Leif, can you just speak to that, the efforts that we are making as an organization to retain those individuals in whatever capacity, but to make them successful?
Yeah, Chairman Robinson, members of the subcommittee. Yeah, we shifted our mindset to a more adult learning environment. We're not so rigid in you have to complete it by this day or you have to qualify by this day. We offer numerous attempts. As long as the recruit is progressing, we are going to work with them all the way up until the end to ensure success. It is a positive environment down there and kind of a holistic adult learning mindset.
And the reason I wanted you to mention that is studies have shown, and I think the Phoenix Police Department years past is a perfect example of it. When you have a high-stress academy, there's a lot of yelling and screaming, and you're looking to get rid of people, because that used to be our attitude. We hired people just to kind of, if you're not tough enough or whatever it may happen to be, we got rid of folks. That demonstrated it told the people that we were hiring, this is how we want you to treat people. We were going about it all the wrong way, and there had been a change in philosophy as to how we would address, or how, as you mentioned, how we would teach, but it was an adult learning environment. And the vast majority of police academies across the country have adopted that philosophy. And if you look at their retention rates, if you look at how long people are staying after they're eligible for retirement, there's a host of things you can point to, and it all goes back to that overall environment in which they are introduced into the profession. So I think that's critical. So thank you for that. If I could, I want to, the one area it appears that we are deficient in, where, you know, Councilman Waring made a good point, that our numbers are still less than what they should be. You know, we know what the problem is. We don't have enough police officers, and it appears, and Chief Giordano, I'm going to address this question to you. It appears we know what the answer to the problem is. We don't have enough officers on the street. We don't have enough. We're not training. We're not hiring enough. We're not getting them out on the street. We're not doing all of those types of things. The easiest way to accomplish that is to hire more people. And in order to do that, we have to do what? We have to increase the number of folks within the Recruitment Bureau. And can you address that and tell us what you are planning on doing and where we hope to be, let's say 6 months from now, 12 months from now, with that staffing level?
Chairman Roberts and members of the subcommittee, if I could, can I go back and start at the beginning? And I wanted to address what Vice Mayor asked. And you're spot on. We are losing people before their drop is up. And it's for a variety of reasons. And I recognized that before I got here, and I've been continuing to work on it since I've been here. It's selfish. I would like them to stay as long as possible because that's good for me, it's good for us, it's good for the city. But also there are some benefits to each individual officer if they stay longer financially. So again, if someone has, I just talked to a sergeant yesterday who is leaving 25 years. He's going to work for another federal law enforcement agency. I'm happy for him. He has a plan. I don't want to lose him, didn't want to lose him. It worked out for him and it worked out for his family. What I don't want is people to leave because they're unhappy. When I left in 2017, when I retired, I was happy. The city of Phoenix was good to me. I want people to have that same experience. So I'm going out to briefings, I'm going out to precincts, I'm discussing that with people. Please reconsider. I'm trying to change, it's a morale, it's changing work conditions. People want to be heard, they want to be listened to, and that's what I'm offering them. So I'm trying to change the mindset so we keep those people longer. I really am. To Councilman Waring, to your point on qualifications and getting rid of people, to Commander Meyer's point, I've spent the last, before I came here, 6.5 years working on police training, police liability, and hiring. So I really understand this world very, very well from a national perspective, because I talked to my peers all over the country when I was the Arizona Post Director. And what I brought with me when I came here was a mindset change. And poor Commander Myers has to deal with the crazy ideas that I have in my office that Jennifer LaRocque and I talk about. Because to Chairman Robinson's point, we need to change the way we treat people from the minute we meet them. We need to treat them better when they come in for their first interview. We need to treat them better when they're at the academy. And we need to treat them better when they're out in field training and when they're officers. Because my wife's a school teacher, so if she's listening, which she's probably not because she's teaching, but we want to model good behavior. And that's what my wife talks about all the time, modeling good behavior for her students. We want to model good behavior for our future police officers. And that starts with the very first interaction we have with them. So we've shifted everything we've done to Commander Joe's position in employment services, how we treat people, how we communicate with them timely. Because if you talk to anyone in my generation, and there's some of you in the room, one standing to my right, or sitting to my right now, it was like the Phoenix Police Department was doing me, and police in general were doing us a favor when they hired us 30 years ago. We don't have that luxury anymore, nor should we ever have treated people that way. So we have changed our mindset. So now we're bringing them in, and we want them to be successful. I think Chairman Robinson mentioned it. We used to look for ways to say no. We used to look for ways to exclude people from the academy. Now we want to make sure people stay. But we do have minimum standards. The state requires minimum qualifications, minimum standards for someone to pass, for them to sign off on. I can sign it, but the director of post has to sign their certificate as well, that they met minimum standards. So no, is everyone an expert shot? Absolutely not. Will Leaf's team or Commander Meyer's team work with them? tirelessly for hours to help them become a proficient shooter so they can meet minimum qualifications? Absolutely. We continue to do that. Unfortunately, there are just some people we cannot get over that we cannot get them to cross the finish line. They're just unsuccessful. We try to identify them before we hire them, but every once in a while we hire them and we have to expend money, and it's frustrating. But again, I could put 50 people in every academy class every month. I really could. Are they the right 50 people? I would argue they're not. That's why we shoot for 40. We want 40 good, solid candidates, and that's what I think we're doing. Every once in a while, you have one of those candidates is going to fall short, and we have to remove them from the academy, and I think that's what we owe the community that we serve. But again, we don't do that lightly. Every dismissal has to come up to the executive level, and we review it. We want to make sure that we're giving this person every opportunity to be successful. If it is a proficiency issue, we've had some issues lately with the ability to read and write, speak English proficiently enough to engage with members of the community. We will recycle those people into another academy class. We don't want to lose them. We'll do everything in our power to make them successful. We do that in training, and we do that in the academy training as well as in field training. So we are working holistically. We really are working on this from a totally different perspective than we have historically. And I think we're being successful. You're seeing the numbers up there. The problem was we started in such a hole that's going to take us a while to dig out of that. But we continue to work at it. As I think Commander Joe covered it in one of his last slides, we are going to start increasing our numbers in hiring. But we're doing that as we're doing it strategically. So when the academy class comes out, we'll push out, argument's sake, I think the last one we were at was 37 recruits. When those are out on the street, we will pull maybe one back or two back to backfill for them in employment services to start processing new applications. Not the brand new person, but a body for body swap. So we put a new officer out there, we bring an experienced officer to employment services to help so we can increase those numbers and shorten that timeline that Commander Joe spoke about. We're working towards this, but trust me, you don't have to tell us. We know we're short. Those numbers don't lie. And Councilman Waring, you're spot on. We're lower than we were, and we're trying to get better, and we're making a lot of adjustments around there to make sure we're still providing the best service possible to the community. But it's a long road, but we are looking forward. We're trying to move forward, and we're doing everything in our power. But again, it comes from the support you give us. We're very appreciative of all that support because we couldn't be successful without it. I hope I answered all your questions. I kind of spoke all over the place.
Thank you. Well, I'm glad we're having this discussion. I appreciate it. So first, I hope it was clear I'm not blaming you, nice fellas, for any of this. It's a problem you sort of inherited. But a couple positive takeaways. The first was, I appreciate you, Chief, expanding on it, but I think Commander Myers used the word positive. I was glad to hear that. I did grow up a long time ago, so I was used to the screaming and yelling model myself, not in policing. It worked for me. I mean, some people respond differently to things. That worked. Later in life, I had a couple mentors. One was John McCain, but for lack of a better word, but one was a 3-star general, and neither one of them were like that. They were both chipper and positive all the time. That was sort of a revelation for me in the 1990s and 2000s that it could be done that way, because in the 80s, it definitely wasn't. So I'm familiar. But that leads to another point. I'm glad you talked about your background in training, but not everybody is cut out to be a trainer either. So I hope, like when you're going through, I guess I assume you are, instead of just rotating people around, oh, you're gonna go to the academy, you're gonna train, maybe the person's not cut out for that. I have a background in education, so I know people learn differently, but there are also people who they can't teach. They can do, but they can't teach, and maybe even vice versa. But I hope you are trying to identify people with skills, communication skills, for sure. Again, I don't want to say that this is accurate, but the narrative that's being built about the Cardinals right now and why they get rid of their coach, and I'm not saying it's true. I'm sure the coaching staff is watching this meeting even as we speak. Probably not. Probably have better things to do. But really, they're saying, oh, they didn't develop the player. We gave them good players, they didn't develop. Whether that's true or not, whether that's really, but clearly that's being kind of pushed out there at least a little bit. Some people are better at designing plays and some are better at developing the talent. Those are different and distinct skills. Some people have all of those things. So I guess what I'm hearing is that you guys are trying to identify people who can really get the message across and how to do it. I'm not saying you're doing this, but yeah, sometimes the recruits just can't do it. And sometimes maybe they're not quite getting the guidance that they need. That's also a possibility that I don't want us to overlook, or I want you to overlook. So is that something you're doing, like finding people who you think would be really good at teaching, largely early 20-somethings? There are communication barriers too if it's all people in their 50s who are talking to 22-year-olds. Some probably aren't cut out for that. So maybe you could just respond to that. Hopefully I'm stating the obvious and not giving you information you didn't already have.
Chairman Robinson, Councilman Waring, you're spot on. It's changing the mindset and it's changing the direction, and oftentimes people are set in their ways. So if you have a field training officer, or if you have an academy staff member who's been there for 15 years, they're used to a certain way and they like that way. So trying to changing that mindset is something we've been working on since I arrived, is changing that mindset, finding the right people to put in those right spots. Because you can I've seen it, you can take the best curriculum developed with the wrong instructor and it falls flat. It really does. So we're looking at making sure we have the right people delivering the correct message and consistently delivering that message. Because we want people to be successful. We spend a lot of time and energy hiring young men, and it's not always young men and women. In the last class, we had a gentleman that was 58. I give him all the credit in the world to go through the academy at 58. But again, we want to make sure we're treating them correctly and we're training them correctly, because again, not everyone learns the same way. So again, changing that mindset, and Commander Myers has done a good job. Jen LaRocque's done a phenomenal job of making sure that my mission, my vision is communicated effectively to everyone down there. And sometimes, I hate to say it, sometimes it comes with, hey, this might not be the place for you anymore. Let's try to help you find somewhere else in the organization where you can be successful, but your training mindset doesn't align with mine, and therefore we need to make a change. So I'm not afraid to do that if it's necessary, but the first thing would be to just get everyone in line that has the same mindset and training the same way, because I think that's the way we need to do things in today's environment.
Mr. Chair, I'll just say this, as someone who just turned 58, I applaud the ambition of the 58-year-old recruit. I was happy that ramp leading down here was going downhill when I walked in, and I don't know how the hell I'm going to get back up. So I appreciate that's good for them. But I appreciate it, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. And Chief, if you could, I think you kind of hit on the question I had initially. What steps are we taking to increase? You said it, and I'm going to put in a request. And I'm not going to look at Assistant City Manager Bays at this point because I don't want her to beat me up. But give me a little bit of a timeline on how you're getting folks, where are we going to be 6 months from now with the recruitment team? Because the biggest issue is, and I've seen this and I've talked to a lot of my students at ASUs and ones that are graduating. I have several students graduating this May they're looking for law enforcement agencies, and the first one that says you're hired is going to be who they're going to go with. That's just the bottom line. So what are we going to do to speed up that process, or give me a timeline for it?
I think Commander Joe, Chairman Robinson, members of the subcommittee, I think Commander Joe hit on that, is immediate communication. I think you talked about the texting platform. As you know, when we went through historically, it was you submitted your application, you just waited by your phone for someone to call. We don't have that luxury anymore. To your point, your students are looking for the first person to reach out to them. So we want to be that first person. We want to get them through the door as quickly as possible. So we want to get them in for their first interview, walk them through the process. Commander Joe's background investigators will get on a phone call, get on a chat, and walk them through how to fill out the forms. We're doing all that. But it's constant communication. There should never be downtime. They should know, I think you had a timeline up there, Commander, is from this point to this point, it should take about this many days. We'll be in contact. Any questions, let us know. And we stay continually connected to them to make sure they understand that we value them. We want them. We want them to come here. This is the best place to be. So please come join us. We're doing that. That's our commitment, is to make sure that we do that and we get through those applications as quickly as possible.
Okay, and thank you for that. And Lori, I'll look at you now. What I will ask for, within the next 30 days, if we could sit down with the Commander Joe and Lori, yourself, and Chief Giordano, if you'd like, I'd like for us to speed up this process of getting more people into the recruitment area, into Employment Services Bureau, because we know that's the problem. We know that's where it's at, and we want to continue with that 40 quality people in each academy class. We have to be consistent about that because we're in the hole we're in because I say we collectively, the city, and this goes back some time, obviously, we took our eye off the ball, and we're paying for it now. And, Lieutenant, Karen Hudson over in her unit could obviously use more people, but that's not where they're going to go anytime soon. We need to be to the point where we can put people in those details because there is a need. And follow-up is always critical in everything else that we do. So in the next 30 days, maybe by middle of February, if we could sit down and look at what possibilities might there be for us to move more people into Employment Services Bureau at a little bit quicker rate, if at all possible, to help with this process. And I'm open-minded about it, obviously, but I just want us to pay particular attention to it. So I think Vice Mayor has a question.
Yes. So I want to say thank you for the report today, and thank you, Chief, because I think you helped explain some things, especially your focus on our current officers. And anecdotally, I do hear that you are making a difference and going out and being out there and hearing from them. So I do want to thank you for that. Clearly, we still have concerns because the numbers, they don't lie, they are what they are. And it's, as my colleague down on the other side said, you really did inherit this problem. It's not a problem you created, but we have to work hard to get out. I am happy to see the improvements relative to the number of applicants. I don't know what y'all did in August of this year where you had 53 lateral and reinstatement applications, but you should go back and figure that out because that was a stellar month. But I also want to highlight here something that I think is getting overlooked, and that's the 30 by 30 and the commitment there. It deserves special recognition. It looks like we have some increased number of applications, but because we're having overall increased number of applications, it's a smaller percentage. So we do still have work there, and I appreciate that. But the pledge that we made 3 years ago is built on decades of research that shows the unique benefits of that the women officers bring to our police department. And according to the initiative, women officers use less excessive force, are named in fewer complaints, are perceived by communities as being more honest and compassionate, and they see better outcomes for crime victims. The department's partnership with the Mayor's Women's Commission exemplifies exactly the kind of innovative thinking that we need to recruit women as officers. That collaboration led to the department's participation in the Fresh Start Career Fair, an event that likely would have flown under our radar. Connecting with 30 women at that event, we have 5 remaining in active contact with recruiters, and that demonstrates how these strategic partnerships can open doors to talent pools that we haven't traditionally reached. Fresh Start's mission to empower women who've overcome significant challenges aligns perfectly with the resilience and determination we need in law enforcement. Appointing Commander Julia, I'm sorry, I knew I was going to mess that up. Let me try that again. Appointing Commander Julie is, right? Did I still screw it up? Agia. Oh my gosh, to lead the Phoenix's 30 by 30 initiative and having her report directly to you, Chief Giordano, elevates it from a program to a priority. And while we remain about 500 officers short of our goal, it's clear that enhanced recruitment strategies and expanded outreach are delivering results. The information and statistics you've shared today represents residents who will be safer, officers who will have better backup, and a department that increasingly reflects the community it serves. So I look forward to continuing to support these efforts and appreciate all of you that are involved in this critical work, the work you've done so far and the work you will continue to do. Thank you for your dedication to making our city safer. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. There aren't any additional questions, but I will thank you as well. You guys did an exceptional job in presenting, and like I said, had the opportunity to sit out at the academy for that first day for that class. Commander Myers, you guys are moving in the right direction. I really appreciate that. And popping in on different classes. I think Councilman Waring made the point that making sure that folks are doing the right things for all the right reasons. That's not why I'm going out. I'm going out to better educate myself so that I have a better understanding of where we're at. Even though I think I know, I don't really know. You know, you don't know until you get out there and see it. So I'll continue to do that, and I thank you all for the hard work that you're doing. Thank your staff for us, because they're all doing a great deal of work, and it's truly appreciated. And Chief, thank you. I'll echo what the Vice Mayor said. Anecdotally, we're hearing that you're out there, you're talking to folks, you know what's important, and you're making sure they know that they're the ones that are important, and they're feeling that. So thank you all for your time. Really appreciate it.
Mr. Chair, we do have one speaker for this.
One speaker, and I know it's Annie Ender.
It's like you're a psychic.
I know, psychic.
That's a big surprise, huh? No. Good morning, and thank you so much. Chief Giordano, I am so grateful for your candid comments addressing what we, the public, are really concerned about. And I know the council folks, as well as myself, are asked often why it takes so long for a police officer to respond, or why didn't they respond to a call. So what we've been discussing is that we have a crisis, and I think we need to name it as such, and we need to address it, and the community is ready to help do that however we can. I appreciate you addressing the loss of recruits early in the first year, and then of course our experienced officers that are leaving retirement during that time. But what I'd like to ask for is respectfully, in a vein of transparency, I'd like to see on the report, and I think the public deserves to see this, how many sworn, and here's the key word, available officers we have per precinct, per squad, per shift. We need to see those numbers, because there are times there's only a few officers covering a shift. I think it's important for the public to understand that. I also think, and I've been asking for it, we need to see the response times by precinct and by council district. And I just want to end by saying that we're here to try to support and build morale. And I'm going to end by reading our dear officer card to you. We need you. We see you. We love you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your sacrifice. And thanks for getting up and protecting my family.
Annie, thank you very much. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Items 5 and 6 are information only. Do any of my colleagues have any questions on fire staffing and response time, or the Community Assistance Program expansion implementation report? None. I know we have a speaker. Is she on? Ms. Bobo? All right. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Am I?
You are on. It's yours.
Okay. Wonderful. Good morning. The city continues to push the narrative to firefighters and citizens that because of GO bonds and a TPT increase, that many fire stations are being built that will improve our fire response times. However, only one of those 4 approved stations, Station 51, is actually a new build, and the others are rebuilds. The city is only building and remodeling 1 fire station at a time. So tell me how this will improve current response times. Taxpayers approved this in 23 to help with the crisis. GO bond and TPT money should go to the immediate build of fire stations to help solve current response times crisis, and used as additional funding for the fire department, not our only hope to get stations built. As you know, I've been following response times since 23 with close attention to my district, District 2. When I compared the overall total of response times for 24 to 25, my district still holds the longest response times across the board for all types of calls. However, it is a citywide problem. According to city data, 2025 had 15,194 less in call volume than 2024, yet the response times only improved by 37 seconds. I've been told over and over again that call volume is what steers the ship. Call volume measures workload. Response time measures service delivery and public safety. Response time is directly tied to survivability, exposing coverage gaps, and so on. Call volume tells you how busy a district is. Response times tells you how well the public is being served. Therefore, response time is the true indicator of service equity and public safety. When an area has both the lowest call volume and the longest response time, such as my district, District 2, it points to a coverage and station placement problem, not a lack of need. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe that is the last item. Are there any future agenda items anyone would like to see? I know we've asked for a couple of things. Vice Mayor's asked for one thing. Anything, Jim? Anything? Okay. Thank you for that. The time right now I have is 11:40. Then we are adjourned. Thank you very much for your time.
That we're probably saving 60% pizza production in general.
One of my favorites has been Project Reduce. I loved how the chefs were able to improve their bottom line, but also the taste of their food. I love it when doing the right thing